for a long time and is actually a PhD in helping maintain relationships. So from both the material, scientific, and from the spiritual side, she's an expert. She's a marriage counselor amongst devotees, and she's visiting here from Sridevi Mayapur. And so, without further ado, actually, I guess let's get the technology set up.
Yeah.
She has a nice presentation on how to spiritualize our relationships. Sometimes spirituality can maybe mean, you know, you just become a celibate monk and you go into a cave and you just, the only real relationship is between you and nature or something like that. Or in Krishna consciousness, we talk about developing a relationship with God and a relationship with all of God's creation because they're all our brothers and sisters. And so, I think that's Sridevi, Dasi, Sridevi.
So, before we go on to the presentation, I would like to get to know all of you just a little bit because I'm new to you all. I know Prabhu knows all of you, but it would be nice to know your names and maybe just share a little bit about what you like about Krishna consciousness. And I'm guessing you're all locals from this area. But if you're from some other place, maybe you can tell me where you're from. Is that okay? Does that sound good? Okay. Let's start with Ryan.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm from, I still live living in Upper West right now in Manhattan. And I suppose, I don't know, I've been looking into spiritual knowledge and sciences for a little while now, and I particularly like bhakti because I'm kind of emotional, so having an emotional connection really helps in the spiritual world.
Thank you, Ryan.
My name is Barbara, and I'm directly from the Bronx. The sangha, the satsang, the company, the chanting, it's like when you go into the water and you get washed. That's
Beautiful. Thank you, Barbara.
Hi, I'm Carmen.
Carmen.
We call it the Boogie Down Bronx. And what I like about it is that it stops you from making a judgment, kind of save your judgment till later.
Mm-hmm.
And I always have a judgment, but I've learned, and then later something new happens. Blows my mind. Then my judgment acts like water.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Carmen. That's interesting.
Krishna, my name is Saurabh.
Saurabh.
I live here in Jersey, but I'm originally from New Delhi. And
अब दिल्ली वाले हैं
Hanji.
अच्छा
And I like what I'm enjoying is learning and reading Gita. It's answering so many questions that I have had and have been exploring and really having, you know, an enlightening moment on what we are, how we are structured, and how everything works. So
Oh, your scientific viewpoint, huh?
yeah.
Thank you, Saurabh.
I'm Benjamin. This is my first time here. I was
Oh,
introduced to ISKCON through the Gainesville Center, which is a really awesome place. So I'm happy to check this place
Florida.
out. Yeah.
Nice. Welcome, Benjamin. We're happy you're here.
Yeah.
You're visiting from Florida or you're like in New York?
I just moved up here.
Oh, good. Well,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you.
Great. You made a great choice.
Hi, I'm Katerina, and I enjoy coming to these evenings. I enjoy the lectures, and I find that the timing of the themes just that has a nice resonance with what's going on in my life, so it's a nice perspective.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Katerina?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm Mary Rose, so you know me. From New York, moved away, now back here. And yeah, Krishna conscious, met the devotees several years ago, and just like, it's the bhakti, the love that, you know, keeps me connected, so.
Thank you, Mary Rose. I think I know this young lady.
We can move on.
No, this is my god sister. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Jai Radhe. I don't know, I could say so much, but I guess what I like so much about Krishna consciousness is actually how international it is and how we bring all different kinds of people together with a like-minded center focus of God consciousness and love of God.
Thank you, Jai Radhe.
Hi, my name is Dove. This is my second time here, but I don't know. I love everything about it so far.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Dove. Happy to have you with us.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Anusha. I'm living in Roosevelt Island it's in the Upper East Side area. And I'm raised in different parts of India, mainly in Calcutta and Delhi. My parents are in Noida now, so I have been to both these temples in Mayapur and in Noida. So both are very beautiful. And I love coming here because I find a lot of peace in this room and through the lectures and also in the main temple, also in the Bhakti Center. So I love coming here every time.
Thank you for sharing, Alicia. I think I know this graceful lady.
Yes, my name is Atita Guna Devi Dasi. Actually, I've been chanting Hare Krishna for 50 years.
Haribol!
But the thing is, we can always learn something more from the devotees. So I've come here to learn more about how to enhance my relationships with you all.
Thank you. Thank you for gracing us with your presence, Mother Atita Guna. Atita Guna Mataji, very, very young when she joined the Krishna consciousness movement. She
Yeah, 2
began
years old.
distributing books almost right away. She has so many interesting stories to tell. A very interesting conversationalist. If you ever have the luck to catch her, make sure you get all the nectar. Thank you so much for coming.
Hare Krishna, my name is Jeanette. 2 weeks ago I was in Union Square and I was walking around and I crossed paths with the
Music?
team, with the music, yeah. And I talked to Ryan and he told me to come here. So I came a week ago and I'm back here. I find a lot of peace here, and actually I'm learning about metaphysics, about energy, and about how to be connected with the universe. And some friend in the past told me that all of that I'm connected to and that I'm drawn to, like the energy, told me that has to be with the conscious of Krishna consciousness. So she told me that I should explore this side.
Interesting. Tell me your name again.
Jeanette.
Janelle. Okay. Thank you, Janelle.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Anthony, and what do I like about Krishna consciousness?
Yes, please.
The community and the association. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, do we have that button pressed on that? Okay.
And we have someone behind.
Yes, I was just checking whether I got it. Yes.
My name's Sophie. I'm reading the Gita right now as part of some research, and it's straight facts. I love it. Yeah, and I'm excited to be here. It's my first time.
Oh, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Now, I have a suggestion, but it's up to you guys how you feel about it. It would be nice to sit in a semicircle so that we can all see each other instead of some people having their backs and some people not able to see each other. It's part of the interconnectedness that we want for all of us. So it's also very therapeutic to have the mandala formation. It enhances connectivity, relationships, open heart sharing, all those kind of things. So if you can just sit in such a way that all of you can see each other. That would be really nice. That's okay. That's okay. Just make yourselves comfortable, that's all. Just make sure you're seated the way you like to be seated. Don't get uncomfortable just because of the change in seating. As long as you're comfortable, I'm happy about that. So, just a little bit about me, just for you to get familiar. Thank you, Prabhu, you did introduce me. Actually, my interest in mental health began when, as a pediatrician practicing medicine in India, I practiced for about 10 years. And in the course of my practice, I found so many children with so many behavioral issues that I couldn't address just by giving them medicines. It was obvious that there were some family dynamics at work which were dysfunctional, causing great distress to both the parents and the children, and which couldn't be addressed by just writing a prescription. So that made me curious to learn more, and I came to America to do my PhD in what I thought was the right major, which was I enrolled for school psychology. And guess what? I get there and they say, it's just testing of children. I said, I'm a clinician. I'm not here to do testing of children. I'm here to help the parents. Tell me what's the major. And no one could tell me at Penn State. That's where I had come. I had to start searching all over again for a major. And finally, I cracked it. It's called Marriage and Family Therapy. So I moved to Louisiana, where they have a proper faculty and a teaching program like that. And that's where I did my PhD. And everybody was shocked because Penn State is Ivy League, while this little itty-bitty university in the middle of nowhere in Louisiana isn't really a big place. But the faculty and the program was excellent, and I was recommended to go there. So that's how I landed over there. My interest in Krishna consciousness actually began because, like I said, I had enrolled for the PhD program, and some of the devotees were coming on campus, and they asked me to come and attend the programs. When I started attending the programs, just like you all, I was just drawn to that energy. Just drawn to that energy that the devotees were bringing. They were so loving, so caring. They were always bringing prasadam. They were doing the kirtan. They were explaining the philosophy. And they put so much love into it. They had to drive for 1 hour to come to the campus. Not a small thing. But they were doing that. They were bringing prasadam. And they were offering their love. To me, that was such a big deal. And the best part was, they were always happy. They were always in a very pleasant mood of service and of caring and of genuinely asking me how I am and what's going on, things like that. So I was very drawn, and I became very curious. What's about these Hare Krishnas? What makes them so nice? What makes them so happy? And believe me, as a pediatrician and as a doctor, I had seen so much suffering. When you go to medical college, you see all kinds of things. So I was very drawn, and that's how my initial contact with Krishna consciousness began. Then I met my spiritual master very shortly after that, and there was no looking back from that point on. I was hooked. So that's how I became a Hare Krishna. My interest in relationships also began in that way, because I found that when relationships are warped, then always it has an effect on us, because we are very sensitive creatures. We are actually wired for love. We are really wired for love, for connection, for healthy exchange of positive emotions with each other. So when there's even a little bit of negativity, it affects us. No matter how tough we might act, our hearts want love. We want to give and receive love. So it does affect us at the subtle level. And that is why today, as Hare Krishnas, we are trying so hard to bring positivity into the world, because the world is suffering so much. We can see all around us what is going on and how much that has affected us, maybe as children also, and how it is affecting the whole world. So my desire is that through this endeavor, we all grow closer to each other. My endeavor today is not so much to give you knowledge as to connect all of us together so that we can all help each other. I want to learn from you. Actually, even as I share whatever little bit I know. Is that okay? Any questions at this point? Feel free to ask anything because I want this to be interactive. Anybody has any questions? Yes.
Your name?
My name is Sridevi Dasi. That's my full Hare Krishna name. My legal name is Lakshmi Rao. Sridevi. Simple. Sridevi is my name. Welcome. We just had a round of introducing ourselves. So the question I asked was, please tell me your name and what you like about Krishna consciousness. Would you like to share?
Yeah, me? My name is Divyangi, and the best thing, what I like about Krishna consciousness, actually what you were mentioning before, the relationship between people and how it's so different from karma relationship. And fortunately, unfortunately, I have an experience of different things what happened, and it just completely different in the spiritual life. So I guess this is what kind of keeps me going in the spiritual life. It was book distributions all the time. Right?
And you're very good at that. I saw her in action today.
So yeah, I guess this is the like it can go very deep.
Thank you, Divyangi. And then we had, there she is, yes.
Hare Krishna, my name is Vrinda Gopi, and what I like, I think, again, very similar answer. Relationships, but more than that, like that sense of belonging, like, you know, okay, I belong here, or these are my god brothers, or these are from the temple. Like, if you're walking on the road, you just see the, you know, the Sankirtan group or something, you feel so nice. That even if you're not going to be part of the Sankirtan that day, but yeah, I think just the whole sense of belonging that these are my people. And that it's connected to Krishna because every day I get to compare my office and temple. And it's a lot, it's a big difference.
There's a big difference,
Yeah, office
yes.
gives me anxiety. More than work, the people give me anxiety. So I'm like,
Exactly, the energies. Like I said, we are actually very sensitive because we are humans. We are highly evolved creatures, and therefore we are very sensitive to vibrations, especially negative ones. Something like what Bhadra was saying. She said she just likes the peace and the Sangha. She used the word Sangha. So, yeah, similar connection is so important for us. So, Prabhu, what about you introducing yourself and telling us why you like Krishna consciousness?
My name is Natavar Gauranga Das, and I like Mridanga and Kirtan.
Haribol.
And that's like that, because I can do that. That's why I like Krishna consciousness and everything else too. The devotees. When I first met the devotees, I was feeling they're such nice people. The temple is very nice. The books are very nice. When I went in the first, they took us on some retreat in New Vrindavan, Festival of Inspiration, and it was like so wonderful being out there. I was super inspired. There was like all these big kirtans and delicious prasadam, and so I like all of it, but mostly the kirtan.
And you have a nice name, Natabara Gauranga. Always dancing, huh? Just right for kirtan.
Yeah, I never liked to dance until I met the devotees. Dancing was always like
Okay, but now you like it.
Now I like it.
Okay, so Natapara Prabhu, you'll have to help me with this technical stuff. How do I do the slideshow?
You're already in the slideshow. Now, if you want to go to the next slide, I think you can just press the arrow keys or like the space bar or something.
Like this?
Is it working?
press
It's not
F5.
showing on the screen.
Can you press F5 to start the slideshow actually?
F5? Yes. F5, okay.
Let's impose.
How do I do
Because it looks like here, like it started.
She just moved to another
Slideshow.
slide, it didn't go.
Maybe we have to just.
Maybe she's not in
The
slideshow.
classic thing in computers, this is what I
She's
learned
not in slideshow.
There we
about
go.
2.5 years, is you just stop it and restart it.
There it
It
is.
solves 99% of problems.
Okay, just use this one. Okay. Okay, but I want to go to the, okay, if we finish with the first slide, what happens if I go back? Okay, I can only go forward, huh? Okay, let's go forward,
It's not
okay.
showing.
So,
It's not showing on the screen though.
I'm not showing on the screen.
If you use the arrow key.
We had all this set up, right?
Yeah, it was working.
It was working.
I just experienced it doesn't work. I don't know about it.
It's okay, we can just.
I do this for work, but
I'm sorry. How can I do it? It keeps beneath me.
so much pressure.
Okay, 3, 2. Now it's doing. It's giving us another screen. It's not this screen. So maybe
Okay,
this
now
is
we
this
got
one.
this.
Okay. Oh.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we make money.
So spiritualizing our relationships, making heart-to-heart connections. This is a Grihastha Vision Team presentation by me, Sridevi Dasi. We have a website. It's called VaishnavFamilyResources.org. And please use our website to enhance your relationships. Now, how did Grihastha Vision Team start? There's a very wonderful devotee called Mother Krishna Nandini who started Grihastha Vision Team simply because she felt the need for having loving, strong relationships in ISKCON, especially marriages and families.
I think some of our guests don't know what Grihastha.
Oh, okay. Grihastha means household life. That's what is the meaning of Grihastha. So that's the name of our organization. And Mother Krishna Nandini started this for this reason, for people to have loving relationships at all levels. Finally, we started realizing that it's not just couples and families, individuals need help. So now we offer help to everyone because we want so much that people have the strong, loving support they need in Krishna consciousness. So I will just explain to you who we really are. So, Grihastha Vision Team, who are we? So we are the counselors or educators or like me therapists who have voluntarily come forward to serve all of you, to serve the Hare Krishna society. What is our goal here? We want to ultimately help you to advance in your spiritual life, to enhance your relationship with Krishna and therefore enhance your relationship with each other. That's the whole point. By working to strengthen and support healthy relationships, we actually create a better world. Really, we want Lord Chaitanya's movement to manifest. We want the golden age to come, where everyone can be joyful and genuinely, happily engaged in Krishna's service. We want to be attractive examples for society and provide a very bright future for you young people, for our young children, and for future generations to come. Because believe me, in the early days of ISKCON, a lot of mistakes were made, a lot. And we have hopefully learned our lessons and we don't want to make those same mistakes again. So we are making a very strong effort, we are making a very strong pitch for people to work on themselves, to seek help before they enter into significant relationships, just so that they can have happy, healthy, loving, strong, sustainable relationships for the long run. Sounds good? You all with me so far? Anytime you need to, you can raise your hand and ask questions. Yes.
So you just said something about ISKCON.
Yes.
We made mistakes in the past.
Yes.
Like this. What is that?
Well, we don't want to go into that right now, but there were a lot of mistakes made. And it was very young movement. The people themselves were very young, with little experience of many things. But we hopefully now have things in place so that we don't repeat those mistakes. We have learned from them and we want to go further. We want to take it further with that. So, all of us, guess what? We long to be loved. We long to be loved because we are wired for love. If you were to be in a beautiful city, the whole city belonged to you, okay? You had mansions and palaces and gardens and waterfalls and everything you need, beautiful home with the most exotic furniture, the most exotic food available, plenty of things, but there's not a single soul there. You wouldn't want to be there for long, right? Sorry? Right. You would be crying. You would be like, what is this? There's nobody to share this with? What's the use of all this? I want somebody with me. You see, we are wired for connection. We are wired to give and take. In relationships, there's give and take. And we need those give and take relationships in order to feel connected, in order to grow, in order to even be alive. Research shows that small children in orphanages who are hardly touched, who hardly cuddled, who are hardly held, they actually suffer emotional deprivation, and they also suffer from lack of growth simply because they are not getting that nurturing they should get. So we are not just creatures that can just live on food and water. We're emotional creatures who need love, who need caring, nurturing, concern. We need to have someone believe in us. We need to have people supporting us. We need to have people saying, I believe in you. I want you to do well in life. I support you. I will stand by you as you work on your dreams. I want you to achieve your goals. We need people who care about us just for who we are. But unfortunately, in today's world, we are parents. I'm a parent. So we have expectations, and we tend to impose those expectations on our children, sometimes become very demanding, sometimes become very harsh also in our behavior. And in the end, we find that many of our children feel wounded, feel rejected, feel abandoned even sometimes, or feel highly constricted because of parental expectations. And that makes for a very difficult childhood, teenage years, young adulthood, and future relationships, because that's where the problem lies. When parents do not honor the child for who he or she is, but imposes their own expectations, their own desires. Now you might say, well, parents can just let loose and let their kids do whatever. Of course. But overly controlling a child and overly demanding, trying to live your life through the child. I always wanted to be a doctor. I couldn't be a doctor. Now I'm going to make my son a doctor. But have you asked your son what he really wants? Does he want to be a doctor? Does she want to be an engineer? So we try to live our lives through our children, our unfulfilled desires. We tend to project them onto our children. And we try to make them be what we want them to be, rather than honoring that child as a gift of God that God has created, that deserves to live his or her own life according to the divine potential that God has placed in him or her. We become possessive. We think, this is my son. He has to do well in life, and he has to do this, and he has to do that, and he has to come up, and that way I can show off. Oh, look, my son is doing so good. So these are the things which cause genuine difficulties in children, especially the Southeast Asian culture, which puts such a high demand on children to be high achievers. Do you know some of the highest suicide rates are in places like Japan, in places like Korea, where very high demands are made of students to become high achievers very quickly and at a very young age. So we want to reverse this trend so that children grow up in a healthy manner, without complexes, without phobias, without neuroses, without obsessions, without feeling as though they have to perform, that they have to come up to someone else's expectation, that we need to nurture our children for who they are. That's very important to understand. And if we have not received that nurturing, thank you. And if we have not received that nurturing, then we need to address those things when we grow up so that we don't pass on that legacy of hurt to the next generation. Yes, this really resonates with us. So all of us need love. It is a basic human need for all of us. I just wanted to say that because some people say, be tough, be self-sufficient, don't rely on anyone. I don't know how many of you had wounded parents. I did. And the message I always got was, be tough, be strong, don't depend on anyone, don't expect anyone to do anything for you. You've got to do it all. You've got to figure it out. You've got to... So it was like, oh, you know, how much anxiety is there in a child when those kind of demands are made, that you shouldn't rely on anyone, you shouldn't trust anyone, you shouldn't depend on anyone, you've got to do it all. It puts a tremendous performance anxiety in the child's mind. Tremendous. So these are the ways, unknowingly, you know, unwittingly. I'm sure my parents wanted the best for me, and so they imposed their expectations, their desires, and their hopes and dreams onto me. So I had to do a lot of work on myself, you know, just to get somewhat sane. So I'm sharing that with you simply because I know how difficult it was to come out of certain things myself. And there is hope. There is hope, because today we understand how much mental and emotional issues can impact our physical health, our relationships, our career growth, and ultimately our marriages also, and our children. Because remember, we are going to pass on what we have received unless we work through those issues and filter out the things that we don't want to pass on to our children. That's very important to understand. That, hey, I don't have to carry all this stuff and pass it on to my kids. I can filter it and take the good that I have received from my parenting and discard that which is not working or which is dysfunctional or which caused me trauma. Why should I pass that on? So, ultimately, His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj says, we have only two major needs, to love and to be loved. Of course, this is after the basic needs are met. I don't know how many of you are familiar with a psychologist called Abraham Maslow, but there's a Maslow's triangle of needs, you know. The most basic need is food, shelter, clothing, water, medical help. Those are the most basic things. If we don't have food, we can't survive. If we don't have water, we can't live very long. You know, air, food, water, clothes on your back, a shelter to be in. These are very basic needs. After that comes higher and higher and higher needs. So Maslow says that unless this first level is met, you cannot go on to the next level. Next level is emotional needs. The next level is needs for connection, for longing, for giving and receiving love. After that is self-actualization, and after that is transcendence. That's how he calls the hierarchy of needs. And until we are able to meet the basic needs, we can't really go on to the next level like that. So, after the basic needs are met, the next is emotional connection with significant other people in our lives. We need loving relationships at all levels. We need romantic relationships where we share intimacy with one significant other, but we also need loving friendships. We also need loving connection with our mentors, with our coaches, with our guides. We need loving connections with people whom we are working with, which normally doesn't happen because the atmosphere is very competitive. But actually, we should have a team spirit. I've got your back, you've got mine. Just like a football team, they work together. But we don't have that. The ideal workplace is where everyone feels like a family. We are in this together and we're working together to fulfill the company's goal, because that's our goal too. But that usually doesn't happen in the workplace. That's why the workplace is normally a place of tremendous stress. And much of the illnesses begins because of the workplace. Today's mental and emotional problems many times are because of a very stressful work environment. Very stressful. So let's look a little bit further. Because this is the nature of the soul, to give love and to receive love. And guess what? We are actually spiritual beings. We are human beings. We are divine beings having a human experience. Do you agree?
Yes.
We are actually divine. Yeah, we are spirit soul. We are actually eternal beings. We just happen to be encaged in a particular dress. Like today I'm in a sari. But I'm not my sari. Today Saurabh is wearing a pant and a shirt. But tomorrow he could be wearing a dhoti and a kurta, right? Does that make Saurabh equal to the dhoti and kurta? No, he's changed his dress, that's all. Today Benjamin is in shirt and trousers, but tomorrow we might see him in dhoti and kurta. But that's not who he is, that's just his dress, right? So similarly, we have changed bodies so many times. Who has heard of reincarnation? How many people have heard of reincarnation? Oh, okay, quite a lot of you have heard of reincarnation. So reincarnation tells you that your soul is eternal. You merely changed the dress. Sometimes in the body of a woman, sometimes in the body of a man, sometimes a tree, so many different bodies we have taken on. But in this lifetime, we have come to the human form of life. Yes, Natabara Gauranga.
I was just itching my head.
Okay. I thought you were raising your hand to ask a question. Well, the thing is, in this lifetime, we have a beautiful opportunity to make it completely successful and go back home to Krishna, get out of the cycle of birth and death by becoming fully Krishna conscious. Yay! That's the best news ever, where we have eternal life, eternal joy, eternal love, eternal peace in ever increasing measure. That's the spiritual world. That's where actually we belong. We have fallen from that world and we have come here to this material world. But that doesn't mean we should stick around here forever. We can make our way back to the spiritual world. And it begins with loving ourselves, loving each other, loving Krishna. And that's why you all like to come over here, because this is the place where this is being offered to you. You instinctively were drawn to this place because you're coming here with a lot of lifetimes of pious credits. That's how you're coming here today. It's not just you just came. You see, you have a lot of pious credits in your bank account, in your spiritual bank account. And that's how you have come to the temple, you have come to Krishna consciousness, because Krishna wants you to go further in your spiritual life and make it back home. Hey, that's what we are all here for, right? Srila Prabhupada said, make this your last lifetime over here. And we want to do that by learning to really love. What is the meaning of love? And how to love? Whom to love? All these are important questions. We can't just give our love to anybody. We have to be sure we can trust the person. We have to be careful because it's Kali Yuga. We can't afford to be naive. I remember I asked Bhakti Tita Maharaj this question. This was very early in my Krishna consciousness. And I was, told that we must love, we must give love. And so I said, so Guru Maharaj, we should love everyone? So he looked at me and said, yes, but don't be naive. We cannot afford to be naive. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So, the closest we come to divine love, Srila Prabhupada said, is the selfless, unconditional love of a mother. When the baby is small, the mother has to just run every time the baby cries. Pick up the baby, give it its feed, change its diaper. If it's feverish, take it to the doctor. Do everything for the baby. The baby is completely helpless. And the mother is fully sacrificing her time, her energy out of love to raise that child. So that's what Srila Prabhupada said when he said, the closest we come to divine, unconditional love is the love of a mother for her child. This is the love Krishna has for us, unconditional love for us. Just imagine, we cannot even understand how much Krishna really loves us. But this is how we actually also love at the soul level. We are not there yet because we are covered over, we are conditioned. Because we are human beings, we are limited in our capacity to give and receive love because we have not reached our spiritual body yet. However, when we are spiritually connected to a higher power, that's Krishna, we can give and receive love unlimitedly. Yoo-hoo! That's great news, isn't it? Because when you plug in to an endless source, you're supplied with an endless supply of love. So that's the connection that we want. If we really want to give and receive love completely to our full heart satisfaction, you have to plug into Krishna. Because He is the source of complete love. He is the source of complete happiness, joy, everything that we are seeking. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all the rest shall be added unto you. That's the Bible. Anyone familiar with that? Anyone heard that before? Okay, Katerina? Phil? No, okay. Dove? You have? Okay. So, what does it mean? Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all the rest shall be added unto you. Because Krishna wants you to get the best love. So He says, first you connect to me, and just see how your life gets transformed. Just see how all the love you want will come to you because you're connected to me. Krishna will arrange for the right people to come into your life so that you can blossom and grow in Krishna consciousness. He will arrange for the right situations, the right opportunities, the right connections so that you can serve Him more and more and better. Love means service. Srila Prabhupada said, loving means what? You serve. When we love someone, we want to make them happy, right? We want to bring them what they like. We want to give them what they want. We bring them flowers and chocolates and goodies and treats and take them out. And we want to give them a good time. Why? Because we love them. And so we express that love by doing so many wonderful things, isn't it? Similarly, we want to receive love in that same way. We want that someone to take care of us, to be there for us, to do things that make us happy, to do things that make us feel valued and affirmed and wanted and needed, right? We want to receive love in the same way that we give love. So let's look at the language of love. How many of you are familiar with the 5 love languages? Anyone heard of them? Okay, all right. All of you are absolute pros here. Anybody? What about Nandapara Gauranga?
I just heard it. I don't know like to recite it.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's look at love language. When we say, let me ask you this question before we get into it. When you say, I feel loved by, supposing I had to ask you this question. Let's go around the room. Ryan. I got you. So Ryan, if I ask you, what does love look like to you? What makes you feel loved? What would you like to share?
I would say like laughing together.
Laughing together, okay. So that sounds like quality time together, okay. Laughing together. Jayaraj.
Pass. I can't think of something. Just come back to me.
Okay. Mary Rose.
Practicing spirituality together in a mutual way.
Mm-hmm. Having a team effort in carrying out Krishna consciousness, okay? So practicing spirituality together, helping one another, that would mean love for you. Vrinda Gopi?
Okay. I don't have like a single line answer, but I was just thinking about it yesterday. Like people, means of course Krishna brings people together, but we are like, oh fate, somehow both of us were in the class alone, or whatever, things like that. But in that, you're put into that situation, but when someone makes extra effort, like even if you're not in the same class, someone enrolling in your class, like that extra effort to be with you, or whether it's like a romantic relationship or a regular one.
Friendship.
So, yeah.
Someone making extra effort to be with you.
Yeah, to be with you. Yes.
Quality time, okay. Quality time, okay. Dove, what does love look like to you?
I would just say like no judgment. No judgment. Spending quality time.
Acceptance. You want to be accepted for who you are.
Yeah.
That means a lot to you. Okay. No judgment. Bhadra?
I could say the same thing.
Okay.
What does love look like to me? Likewise, expressing the joy of chanting.
Okay. Expressing the joy of chanting to someone you love is love. Is that it?
Yeah,
So-
I'll leave that for now.
Okay, all right. Expressing the joy of chanting. Katerina?
So it's sort of like words of love, but more listening, like that active listening. Yeah, from friends and family and partners.
So feeling heard and understood.
Yeah.
Attentive listening, listening to the meaning behind the words, the heart. Not just the words, but the heart, the feelings behind the words.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, like empathetic listening.
Empathetic listening.
Active.
Active listening. Okay. Okay. Very nice. Thank you. Shonu, right?
Anusha.
Anusha, sorry. Anusha.
I feel like a safe space to
Mhm.
share your secrets, like inner feelings, and the person also shares like similar, secrets with you. Like a space that only we can share. I feel that's my definition of love.
Okay, okay. Being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Being vulnerable and feeling safe
Yeah.
with that person to share your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Please come. You're most welcome to join in. Please have a seat and make yourself comfortable. Okay, quality time. So for you, it would mean having a very trustworthy person, a very safe person to be with, who will share with you, and you will also share at the same deep, heartfelt level. Okay, beautiful. Carmen, right? Yeah. What does love look like to you? If you say, I feel loved by, what is that?
I didn't think love was like God, something that didn't exist. That
Love
people
doesn't-
used because they were attached. I'm just learning now, and I'm going by Eric. Who was it that wrote that? The Art of Loving, by the rules. But I just thought it was something people made up that they were attached.
Okay, you didn't really believe in love. Okay, but now you're beginning to believe in it, huh?
I'm learning. I'm
Okay.
hoping.
You're hoping, you're learning. Yes, of course. Okay. So for our two newcomers, we just were discussing just very simple stuff. We introduced ourselves and we shared what we like about Krishna consciousness. So let me just finish a little bit and then we can ask you to do that and we'll bring you up to speed. Okay? I'm sorry?
Oh no, I was saying perfect timing.
Okay, now we have Saurabh.
So, for me, I think love would look like something without condition, without expectation.
Unconditional love, someone who accepts you just the way you are, no judgment and no expectation. Okay? Natapara Gauranga?
When I think of that, I think of one thing that you just know what the person wants before they even ask for it, and they know what you want. You can kind of read each other's minds. And then also in kirtan, being attentive in the kirtan. I think that's a very profound but simple, profound way to show love to each other and to Krishna. So it becomes you can tell when you're with people that are all on the same page, in the same kirtan. It's could be in the same place, the same tune, the same mridanga playing, everything the same, but it becomes so much more deeper, so much more, and everyone's just really, really attentive to it. But it takes a kind of a sacrifice.
To get to that point. Very, very, very nice, very nice. Thank you, Gauranga Natapara. Benjamin,
I'd say quality time.
quality time? Okay, all right. And tell me your name again?
Sophie.
Sophie, yeah, okay.
Acceptance.
Acceptance.
And then acceptance again.
And acceptance and again and again. To feel accepted. Okay? For who you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me your name again. Remind me.
Anthony.
Anthony. Okay, Anthony.
What love looks like?
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I don't know. But what love feels like, I could say it's more warm, anything that makes you feel warm, person, place. That's what I think is. It's more of a feeling. Now, I don't know what it looks like exactly.
Okay. So it's a warm feeling,
Yeah.
feeling of being loved. Okay, okay. Janelle?
Yes. I am amazed, like, do you remember the names of everyone?
Well, not, I'm trying to remember everyone's names. Trying.
That's amazing. So, I think it's like different feels. So, the way love feels for me is like a peaceful, warm, joyful place. If it's coming from someone, it's someone that is in bad and good, right? It doesn't need to like be always laughing, and it's someone that is with you. Not doesn't matter what's happening in your life. And but I think in order to exist love is a bridge. Before that bridge, I think it needs to exist that you need to believe and trust in order to be loved.
Okay, okay. You have to have that connection first. In
Yes.
order to be loved. Okay, okay.
Because if you don't believe or you don't trust, it's not love.
This, okay. So that has to be preliminary. There has to be some connection where there's trust, and then you build on that, and then there's love. And to have a warm feeling, to feel safe, that the person is there for you through good and through bad. Okay, all right, thank you. Dr. Phil. Haribo.
I think it's attention to details and a dedication to your best interests, even to the point where the person or whatever will evolve their own self to help you get to a better place.
Very evolved state of mind and maturity would be called for in such a case, that they are grounded in their own selves, they are goal oriented, and they're going to help you achieve your goals. Wow, amazing, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but this also reminds me, like, people keep saying better half, better half. So, like what you said reminded me, like, also two individuals who are just very good and accomplished and strong. They are not like complete, like nothing is missing that is to be like fulfilled, because I think in that case you yourself are so wounded that if you can't stay alone happily, no one else can,
Make you happy.
Yeah. So yeah, I think love means being self-fulfilled, or I don't know, being accomplished enough and then still choosing to love someone, not needing that but wanting the person to be in your life.
Right. So not acting out of woundedness or neediness, but feeling complete and whole and healthy, and then giving love from a feeling of strength and from a feeling of groundedness. Okay? Very good. Very nice. Divyangi?
Well, for me, definitely words of encouragement and actions, and quality time.
Okay, yes, multiple love languages. So what Gary Chapman says is, we tend to expect love the way we give love. Like, for example, I'm just sharing, I'm a very verbal person. I like to say nice things. I like to encourage people. I like to appreciate. I like to acknowledge. I like to affirm. I like to validate. And I'm very sensitive to criticism, because I received a lot of criticism growing up. Lots and lots and lots and lots of. So words have a lot of power in my life. So therefore positive words mean a lot to me, because I didn't get much of that. And because that is my love language, I speak, I'm a very verbal person. I like to receive love in that way. Now, there are people who don't like to speak very much, but their love is through acts of service. Very often, men are like that, very often, because they're geared towards action. So, a man will show his love by bringing the groceries, putting food on the table, making sure the car is gassed up, taking care of all the, repair work around the house, but he will not speak much. I'm saying this because I see a lot of these situations. And so the wife feels very emotionally empty because he's not saying the things that she wants him to hear. So we have to help him to break that barrier and speak the words that she wants to hear. At the same time, we try to help her to see, hey, look at all the love that's coming to you through all these wonderful acts of service that he is doing. He's making sure you have food on the table. He's making sure the kids go to school. He's making sure by having a stable job and working hard that you have the financial security to do the homemaking part and so on and so forth. So each needs to understand each other's love language. Women are more verbal. Women like to hear sweet things, hear nice things, hear words of affirmation. And when they don't receive that, it's very painful, very hurtful, and very emotionally devastating. And he has no clue many times why she's so upset with him. So men need training and women need training too. Both people need training to understand how to fulfill the other's emotional needs and how to make the relationship strong. Because the psychology of a man is different, the psychology of a woman is different, and each needs to learn about each other. Like a woman, when she's distressed, her girlfriend will just naturally go to her and hold her hand and say, "You poor thing, I'm so sorry," this and that. While if his wife is crying, a man asks, "Now what on earth is the problem? Why are you crying? Why do you have to howl all the time?" and things like that. And that hurts her feelings even more because she thinks he's so unfeeling, he's so uncaring, he doesn't, care that. While for him, it's very unnerving to see his wife or girlfriend crying because it makes him feel inadequate. And a man hates to feel inadequate. He likes to feel he can fix it, he's in control, he can do anything. He wants to be her hero. And when she's weeping and crying all over the place, he gets very upset and gets angry. And that's the last thing she wants. So it is very important for each person to understand that when your wife is upset, you don't have to fix anything, you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is go and put your arms around her and hug her and say, "Sweetie, it's going to get better." That's all she needs to hear. Just like a girlfriend would, a man has to be there for his wife, for his girlfriend, just so that she gets that emotional support she needs. Similarly, when a man is upset, he doesn't go boo-hooing all over the place. He likes to go silent, he likes to go inward, he likes to figure things out in his head. And he doesn't want to be bothered, he doesn't want to be nagged, he doesn't want to be pressed. "Why are you upset? What's going on?" She needs to give him space so that he figures things out and then he will be able to reconnect with her. So both men and women need to understand each other's psychology in order to have successful relationships. So I'm sharing that with you just to tell you that girls will want to comfort girls automatically in a certain way. So a woman, she expects the husband to know that and give her what a girlfriend would give her, but he doesn't know that. So he's not cold, mean, uncaring, unfeeling. He just doesn't know. So he needs training to be able to be emotionally there for his wife. And she needs also to understand to give him space when he's upset. So you see how the psychology makes a difference? Understanding each other's psychology is very, very important for successful husband-wife, girlfriend-boyfriend relationships. Couple relationships are most challenging because girls don't know what guys need and guys don't know what girls need. So talking a little bit in depth today about that. Words of love are very important for some women, not all. Sometimes acts of service are very important. So you need to get to know your partner. There's no one size cookie cutter fits all. You need to learn about yourself first, and then you need to learn about your partner for a successful relationship to happen. What's the joke? You want to share? Yeah,
You were saying about training, and I was like, how do you train? Who's training them?
Right. See, this is the difficulty we are having in ISKCON today because there is so much need for this training, but who's giving the training? So that's where Grihastha Vision team is trying to bridge that gap by doing this paid work of trying to help our young people become emotionally savvy about relationships by understanding male psychology, women's psychology, and having mentors to help you through the rough patches. We want our young people to have the support they need. Remember, it takes a village to raise a child, right? Well, it takes a village to raise a couple. Young people need aunties and uncles and mother figures and father figures besides their own parents. Many times the parents are not even in the picture because they themselves are divorced, or they've rejected you for being a Hare Krishna, or one is in Timbuktu and the other is somewhere else. Where are the parents nowadays? So we need mother figures, we need father figures, we need uncles, aunts, we need support for our married life. That's a must. A young couple should always be connected to some senior couple in Krishna consciousness so that they can receive the help from time to time that they will inevitably need. That's why in the olden days the joint family system was there and it was very successful. We didn't have so many divorces in those days. Today there's so much stress. My heart just goes out to young people who are just trying to navigate life. It's like, throwing two people over a ship, from the ship and putting them in a raft with, 2 weeks supply and 2 oars and saying, okay, this is it, paddle your way, How are the young couple going to manage life? We have to help them. So it's also important for us as the older generation to be there for you, to be there to help you all. That's also very important. It's not just that the young couple have all the responsibility. We have a share in making sure you guys are successful. So our hope is you will turn to the senior people in your community and get the help you receive. So words of love, that means acts of service, touch. A lot of people need hugs. A lot of people don't like to be touched. Now I have a niece, I'm the huggy wuggy auntie, I love to go and hug people and I say, and this niece of mine like, touch me not. Don't touch me. Don't hug me. I don't like all this, gooey stuff. Don't get. And if you kiss her, she's like this. She doesn't like it. So I have to understand that she doesn't like me doing this stuff. So I have to be respectful of that and choose to show my love in a different way. You see how sensitive some children can be. You would think that all children like hugs, but not her. She doesn't like it. And she's like a touch me now. So we must, the reason I'm sharing that is because it comes so easily to me to do that, but I have to train myself that no, she doesn't like it. So I have to respect her needs and her desire to not be touched, to not be hugged, to not be kissed, because that's not what she likes. So I have to show my love maybe by buying her a gift or taking her out for a walk or talking about science, she likes that, and all those kind of things, but no touching. Quality time together, we discussed a little bit about that. Several of you said that, being together, doing things together, doing bhakti together. For Ryan, it was like having a good laugh together. Those are important things for feeling connected. Anthony shared that it's a warm feeling, a feeling good. Katrina said feeling safe, empathic listening, attentive listening. So all this tells you about how you want to be loved. But your partner might have a totally different love language. So pre-marital counseling, talking about all these issues before you seal the deal. Because you don't want surprises after the marriage. You don't want to say, oh my God, I didn't know this about you. Well, that might happen, but at least preliminary, emotional needs should be discussed and should be met with, at least to some level of satisfaction. Otherwise, it will be very hard to sustain it for the long run. Believe me, it's very hard to sustain it otherwise. These things need to be discussed and talked about. Everyone okay so far? Okay. At this point, we'll ask our 2 newcomers. Where's the other guy? He disappeared. Hare Krishna. Someone is peeping in. Please come if you'd like to join. Okay. You want to introduce yourself, Prabhu, and share your name as well as why you like Krishna consciousness? Please come if you'd like to join.
I have to prepare the prasad.
Huh?
I have to prepare the prasad.
He's doing an act of service.
Okay, act of service. Okay.
My name is Ryan.
Ryan, Bhakta Ryan. Very happy to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you for giving class tonight.
Okay. What do you like about Krishna consciousness, Prabhu, if you don't mind sharing?
Many things I like about Krishna consciousness.
Okay.
Like you're talking about language of love in different ways that we express love. And I think I resonate a lot with Natapar's answer that love is fundamentally acts of service.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually how love is expressed.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you do a service for someone, it means you have to sacrifice your own your own program of prioritizing yourself. And when we actually engage in doing that, then we become free from basically all of our miseries, which are self-imposed. And so Krishna consciousness is an opportunity to engage with a culture of service. Service to each other, service to the Vaishnava, service to Krishna, service to spiritual master. It's all service.
Yes.
And if you just give your life into service, then all of your suffering melts, it just disappears, because suffering is only based on, attachment to your own self.
Beautiful. Haribol. Well said. Very nicely said. Beautiful. Because really, when we meet the needs of others, our needs get met. That is so true. My Guru Maharaj said to me this long ago when I was complaining, he said, you just try to serve others and see how your needs will get met. And that is so true. Thank you. Okay, so now what does Krishna say? Let's look at what the Gita says. He says, to be happy in this world, at least one must strive to attain the mode of goodness. Zinger. Most of us are struggling with the modes of passion and ignorance because this is Kali Yuga and we are born in this age, This age is a very difficult age. It's not so easy. But Krishna says, you want to be happy? Try to reach the mode of goodness. And you know what? You can be most successful in relationships when you at least try to reach the mode of goodness, because that gives you calmness in stressful situations. It helps you be patient and tolerant through difficulties. It helps you to remain grounded even when you are getting provoked and triggered. It helps you to have perspective so that you're not freaking out over every little thing. And it helps you to have faith because you're depending on Krishna. So therefore, striving for the mode of goodness will actually help us to become successful in our relationship. It will help us be successful in actually understanding and loving our own selves too. Because as you invest in getting better for your own self, you're actually investing in a better you for others. So it's a win-win all the way around. Yeah, it's really a win-win. So therefore chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare is the beginning, is the middle, is the end, it's all the way through. Because Krishna consciousness really helps us to access the divine within us. So striving for the mode of goodness is actually a good idea. And it actually helps us to have the stable relationships, the loving relationships, the relationships in which we are going to learn and grow and nurture one another. So Krishna says, strive for the mode of goodness. So practicing Krishna consciousness is actually the smartest thing to do. Okay, so how does the mode of goodness help? Now, I'm going to ask you all to contribute by reading what's on the board. Right.
All of it?
Yeah, just the 4, yeah.
We can see things as they are. We will become sober, have full knowledge, and become happy and prosperous. We will be peaceful, calm, serene, grounded, stable, respond, not react, and learn to grow. We can sustain relationships because we can now deal with situations maturely.
Self-explanatory. You see the benefits? Thank you, Ryan. These are the benefits of going into the mode of goodness. And we all struggle. We all have, our moments. We lose it, we freak out, we get scared, we get petrified, we get provoked, we get triggered. All these things do happen. But as you practice Krishna consciousness, you'll find yourself calming down. You will become less reactive. You'll become more responsive. That means you think before you act. You're not in fight or flight mode. You're actually acting from a platform of maturity because all those anarthas are getting cleared out and you're reaching more grounded, more stable situation within yourself. Are you with me, Sophie?
Sorry, yeah, I actually had a question about that.
Okay, go ahead.
No, just thinking, well, if you think before you act, versus, let's say, being true to your emotions or letting the energy run through you, you're not attaching yourself to your ego, like your ego self, and thinking, rather than like almost your animal, less egoic self that reacts, you know?
So you're trying to say that when you react, you're actually being real, genuine.
In a way, yeah, because you're not thinking, and you're not, I'm not taking a moment to recognize myself, Sophie, and then think, and then react, which is involving some ego. But if I just react, then it's just like animalistic. I know this in reality, this isn't what's told, this is a good advice, but just thinking about it.
Have you noticed for your own self the results when you think?
Yeah, it's terrible, because when I was a kid, I was quite angry, and like I'd see what would happen there, and like, you know, I was a kid, so yeah, it doesn't work. It's not good advice. But now thinking about it, just the way you said it, I think I thought, well, my question isn't stopping and thinking, more association with the ego.
Good question. It could be, but it also could mean you're stepping back from that situation to think, what is the best response in this situation? If I react, that means I'm not giving myself a chance to evaluate the incoming information and choose a response. I'm getting triggered into responding in a certain way. And they may not always be the best. Many times it's not, actually. Many times it's not. But if we step back and we pause and we say, wait a minute, do I really need to say those words? Or do I really need to think like that? Maybe there's another explanation. Maybe I can give this person the benefit of doubt. Maybe I can just step back and mull over it for some time before I respond. And guess what? Maybe after your emotions have calmed down, maybe you'll respond differently. And that might actually be helpful for you and the other person. It could be a win-win.
Yeah.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, no, it is, yes.
It sounds more practical?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone have anything to say, Katerina?
From what I understand, the ego works more on a like subconscious, unconscious level. I mean subconscious, not unconscious. So that what you're seeing as like animalistic or animal response is actually the ego defending itself,
right?
Without thinking, and so it's the self-consciousness that can be in dialogue with the ego impulse.
Okay, yeah,
So, because the ego is sort of like, from what I have, thought about or learned, is more the sort of immediate response to a threat. Your like sense of identity is challenged. But it's like pre-self-consciousness.
A very basic primal response is the fight or flight mode, very basic response. Without the cortex, you're at a lower level of functioning, it's the fight or flight, adrenaline charged, rather than thinking about it. So because we are intelligent beings and because we have rational thought and behavior at our disposal, we can pause to think. You might still choose that same response, but choosing a response is different than the response just bursting out of you. It's almost as though you have no control and you're just reacting. That is a very primal response, and that happens when we are feeling very threatened and very challenged. Natabara Prabhu?
I think also to kind of flip it, maybe what Sophie you're talking about, it could also be kind of like a psychopath. They'll think things through so much that they've created this whole weird thing, so they have to, or someone that's like a compulsive liar or something, they have to like really think about everything that they do, that it keeps with their story, something like that. Because then that can be like, also you have to step back and just think about that. But then if you just always tell the truth, then it's very easy to just say whatever you're feeling.
Yeah, but we are talking about devotees. We are not going to analyze psychopaths over here because we are hoping and praying we don't have any psychopathic tendencies at least. Because I mean, very complicated criminal minds, that requires a lot of analysis. Even detectives have to break their heads figuring out how that person did that particular crime and all that. But we are talking about just simple, ordinary folks like us, in relationships. So we don't want to get too mental about it. We don't want to get too analytical about it. But we want to see what is best for us in that situation. And it may be a response that you might choose among 2-3 different responses. See, when we are reacting, it's like triggering. We have only one way to react. But when we choose a response, we have a repertoire of behaviors to choose from. You see? That's different. Yes, Katerina?
I just wanted to add that maybe, what you're thinking, the sort of impulse response, if you kind of connect that to like intuition, like intuition is not necessarily derived from logical analysis, but it can be combined. So you can have an insight or a really pure kind of impulse that is your intuition that's not reactive, that if you combine with the sort of analytical, text, then it's like the best of both, So the purity of the, sort of the insight from a life lived of experience combined with the analysis.
So it's a more mature response and a more measured response rather than a reactive response.
Yeah, but you can still have a non-analytical component to it.
More emotional component.
Yeah,
Okay.
intuitive emotional
Okay.
component.
I think we're running out of time, so we're going to be real quick now because I think the gentleman is also waiting to serve us prasadam. Divyangi, you want to say something?
Yeah, you just got into this topic about like being genuine, basically like expressing yourself rather than kind of don't express anything and just being like a stone. So, well, what I've learned from Mother Amburu also, that if you when you don't react on something, right, it doesn't mean you don't feel. It doesn't mean you don't experience emotions, right? But this kind of gap in between this, like you just have to. Well, what I do is I'm allowing myself to experience these emotions, right? But I'm not acting on them. If I'm angry, I'm allowing myself to be angry, but I'm not acting towards someone in the anger mood, and then all the needs become met, right? I'm allowing myself to feel, but other person is not suffering because of, my particular emotions. And then another thing is that when we're passionate, right, it almost like 100% we will make wrong decisions, choices, or how to react, and most of time we will hurt someone, But if we like, Sridevi was saying that if you have a choice how to react, then you would, anyway, emotions go ill together with the actual actions. But for women, it's almost the same thing. So that's why for us it's very hard. But when we learn how to kind of, experience emotion but still be sober in expressing them to other people, then I guess it's a good skill.
Yeah, you're not going to damage or destroy
because
a
it's
relationship.
words so damaging.
Right, words can be very powerful. What I'm going to do is carry on and we can discuss this at Prasadam in more depth for Sophie's satisfaction because we really have to finish. We are like 15 minutes over time. Is that okay, Sophie?
Yeah, go on.
Just 2 more slides. So we work on our own issues so we are not getting triggered. This is so important to understand. So very important to understand. We really need to look inward first and clear up all the stuff. We need to clean up our side of the street before we can get into a relationship. Because if we are still getting triggered, we are still getting provoked, we are still angry about something that happened in childhood or young adulthood or whenever, trauma happens. It's a fact. If we are still having PTSD from all those things, we are going to be very reactive. So we need to get help. We need to heal from all of that so that we are bringing a healthy self to the relationship. As Vrinda Gopi said, we first need to be calm, peaceful, happy, and grounded within ourselves. Before we can truly love someone else, we have to love ourselves first. Being kind and compassionate towards ourselves. We give people the benefit of doubt instead of being very quick to take offense. Now, when we are wounded in childhood, when we have been traumatized, this is very hard. This is a very hard thing to do. This has to be learned. It's a skill that has to be learned. Instead of being quick to take offense, instead of being quick to feel like a victim, instead of being quick to say, this person is against me, we have to learn to give the benefit of doubt and say, maybe I'm being overreactive. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. Maybe I can wait and see whether this person is always like this. Why am I being so reactive? These are important issues that we need to clear up in our hearts, okay? Be kind and compassionate towards ourselves. And then we can be kind and compassionate towards others. Remember, we cannot give what we do not have. So, we must learn to first love ourselves. When we love ourselves well, we can also love others well. When we are happy and at peace with ourselves, we can be happy and peace with others. We can be open, honest, vulnerable, like Anusha said, she talked about vulnerability, and have emotional intimacy without feeling threatened. This calls for a lot of maturity, and there's work to do for us. We become safe people, and therefore we attract safe people. We are no longer unhealthy, codependent, or unsafe. We can now connect, learn, and grow together. This is so important to understand. Why? Because this is the foundation of healthy relationships. And this is the very last slide. This is my dedication to my dear spiritual master, His Holiness Chandramauli Swami. I owe him everything. The unconditional love my Gurudev has given me has helped me to heal from so much childhood trauma myself and become the therapist I am today. Without his love, I couldn't have made it this far. Jai Radhe knows. And of course, our spiritual grandfather, Srila Prabhupada. So this is our presentation. Thank you all so very much. Now, I want to... I want us to continue this feeling of connectedness because remember, all of you shared this one thing. I love the peace here. I love the Sangha. I love the association. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to share a poem by Mother Krishna Nandini, who started the Grihastha Vision team because she wanted us to be in this together. So, I will read this poem for you. Here we go. Right. So I would like to read this poem for you, and if you like, I will ask Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu to make printouts so all of us can keep it and hold on to this during the tough times. Reach out to one another. I want you to all feel that I have a brother and sister in this room. When I'm in trouble, I can just pick up the phone and call them, and they will be there for me. Does that sound like a good idea? I mean, guys with the guys, girls with the girls, because in ISKCON at least we are a little particular about that. So that would be nice. Big brother, big sister, like that. We are in this together through good times and stormy weather. We're willing to do the work it takes. Be a team, like you shared. Be a team. Pray, make fewer mistakes. We want to get better together. With faith in Krishna that our relationships will be great, we are learning to better communicate, to speak what we want with respect, to listen to get the most effect. We want to get better together. Our goal is to be each other's best friend, to get skills so our relationships won't have to end. Tools to manage our time, our children and money, to avoid the mess and go after the honey. We want to get to better together. Trust, forgiveness, respect, yes. Lying, cheating, fighting, no. With consideration, cooperation, and devotion, we can flow. We want to get better together. I like this poem. So if you like, I will share this poem with all of you. Maybe Prabhu Vishnu can send it on WhatsApp. That will be save some trees also. Rather, see, I'm still old-fashioned. I'm thinking of paper copies. But today you are all in this WhatsApp age. So maybe I can just send it to him. And I want you to understand that we really are in this together. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj says, at the end of the day, all we have is each other. At the end of the day, all we have is each other. So we are each other's best friends. And we need to count on each other. We need to be there for each other. So my hope really is for each of you to feel connected, each of you sharing your numbers, your emails, the girls with the girls, guys with the guys, and being each other's best buddies. Because in Krishna consciousness, we're going to need friendships to sustain us for the long run. We can't do it alone. It's not possible. We are in this together. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Okay. Any feedback, any comments, any questions before we wrap up and go?
Well, we'll just go directly to the kirtan because we're
okay.
over time.
All right. Let's head out. Kirtan or go back.
Here. Oh, standing up.
I'll give you another minute.
That is yours.
No, I don't know. Maybe her.
It's a program we do.
I didn't know you would stand up and do kirtan. You did kirtan.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're already
Yeah, I know.
20 minutes over.
Sure.
I mean, it's a nice presentation, but it's not really. Hare Rama,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.